kasih Raja Sufi dan juga Irma, dan saya cukup rasa seronok dan excited cuma tengah kontrol ni supaya tak terlebih dan tak terover, di mana beliau ini sewaktu di awal kehidupannya seorang artis pop yang cukup popular di UK, dan antara kehebatannya ialah dalam sejarah kita boleh saksikan lagunya, debut song dia adalah pada tahun 1967, which was Matthew and Son, yang telah berjaya mendapat tempat kedua dalam single charts di UK, dan kemuncak karier dia sungguh hebat. Tetapi di kali itu beliau memilih untuk memeluk Islam, dan saya tak perlu perkenalkan beliau, terus saya persembahkan Cat Stevens, but well known nowadays as Yusuf Islam. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah.
It is an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Inshallah. So how many days have you been in Malaysia?
4.
4 days.
Yeah.
Have you tried the nasi lemak or nasi lemak, the Malaysian food?
Oh yeah, nasi goreng.
Nasi goreng.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's
yes,
okay. Yeah.
It is delicious.
Lovely.
Mashallah. So how many days more are you going to be here in Malaysia?
Another 3 or 4 days.
Mashallah. So there will be many programs here.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of talks and, presenting the book, which I've written and now is being published in the Malay language as well.
In the Malay language. So this book, Why I Still Carry a Guitar, first and foremost, I would like to ask you about, because way back in 1972, if I'm not mistaken, around the 70s, after you became a Muslim, you immediately sold all your guitars. Is it?
Oh, no, not immediately. But, one of the interesting things about my connection with Malaysia was that my last record, I was a Muslim when I made my last record.
All right.
My name was Cat Stevens then, and I didn't think of putting Yusuf Islam. But I learned that you must put Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. For everything that you do, you should take the name of Allah. So I put Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim on the album. Then I got a big complaint from Malaysia saying, you can't do this, this is wrong. And I went, oh my God, I was very frightened.
All right.
Maybe I did something very wrong. So that's where I began to learn, even though the Quran didn't say anything about music per se, there's no word. Specifically. There were now criticisms, coming from opinions of commentaries on, and so it started to open up, a big question, at that time for me. And I was not really interested in anything more than Islam. I mean, I was just so happy to find Islam that music became a secondary issue. It was not important to me because what was important was my life, and how to live my life.
All right. The young generations, other than knowing Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, so on and so forth, surprisingly,
they're both dead, by the way.
And they are all dead.
Yeah, sorry, sorry, but I mean, may God bless them, and give them
correct.
Easy way, inshallah.
And but nevertheless, they also know you. Like my children, for example, when they listen to I Look, I See, they know Yusuf Islam. So in your career, so to be at the highest level of your career in the music industry, but you decided to become a Muslim, do you think it is a kind of something that you will lost a lot, or did ever even a little bit hesitated to Shahadah by that time? Just to let go your career or something like that?
That was not the problem. There was no problem. You see, in the beginning, there was no question about whether music was allowed. That wasn't the issue.
No issue at all?
No. Right. Even the first imam I had in the Central Mosque in London, he said, you can continue, to make music, but maybe he told me to be careful about live performance because, I'm a young man, and so it maybe causes other problems. But music itself was not a problem. But later,
it's not haram li dhati, haram li ghayri.
Yeah, exactly. It's the conditions and so many things that may be attached to it. So that became later a problem. But I had more important things to think about. I'd done my work in music, and now I wanted to create a life. and a family. And that's, I was married, and then I had my first child, and then comes the question of education. How do you educate your child in the Western, context? There's no schools. And so I said, we must have a school, inshallah. And we started a school.
And create your own school?
Yes. Yeah, it took time. I mean, it took a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of help from a lot of people. But in the end, we have now one of the best and most successful schools in UK. It is always at the top of the academic charts. And we teach Islam, and it's a beautiful atmosphere in that school.
What triggers you for your Shahada way back in the 70s? Because I know it is explained in detail in this book, but to summarize, to make it short.
To make it short, everybody has to know who they are.
Right.
You come into this world and your parents tell you who you are, your society tells you who you are, the advertising tells you who you should be, what you should wear, how you should behave. And so it is a very big confusion for many people to actually come to a conclusion as to who they are and how we relate to each other. And so Islam just made everything absolutely clear. We are creatures belonging to this world in the middle of, you may say, the material world, but with spirit and knowledge connected to our Creator. And so if you don't have knowledge of the Creator and you just live in this world, you are going to be very, very confused. And so Islam to me showed me that, we did not create man except for an objective to know the Creator and to worship Him and to live your life according to the way that we should.
Talking back about your career in the music industry, because nowadays, as you mentioned just now, that the people starting to open up the discussion about music, but it is totally different 30 years, 40 years ago, where they were quite narrow about music, especially in rock and roll.
Well, rock and roll has always been, what they call sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Yeah, they associate with those.
And the old days, they used to call it wine, women, and song.
Right.
Right? And in the Islamic context, when you look at some of the ways in which music was used in the Arabian, civilization or at that time and society, yes, there were places where people used to play music, they used to drink, and that kind of thing, we say, we don't like that.
Bye-bye.
We bye-bye. But that doesn't mean all music. So then you see the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when it came to the enjoyment of people and his wife, Aisha, when she wanted to enjoy the music at a certain time.
The Prophet didn't prohibit.
And no, he even said to Abu Bakr Siddiq, because he said, this is wrong, this is wrong. And he said, no, let them. So this very strong evidence to show that in the right conditions, with the right purpose and objective, then of course it is like aesthetics. We must use it to the best of our ability.
Yeah, and when you say about Malaysia, at the early stage of you became a Muslim, Raihan did an album where they featured you in their album, which was God is the Light, right?
Yeah.
So what is your opinion about Raihan when they work together with you?
I love Raihan. Raihan is one of the pioneers for me. They inspired me because their harmonies were absolutely beautiful. And they were unique. They were not copying or imitating the Western style.
Their own way.
Own way, yeah. I'm not saying they're like the Beach Boys, but they were. Raihan was the Malaysian Beach Boys, but very inventive. Very new.
Like the Backstreet Boys of Malaysia or something like that.
Beautiful. and I pray for brother Zari, who passed away very, very young.
And because I did talk with Raihan, they told me that when they started to make the song for you, and you were a bit hesitated where there was guitar, there was some kind of music that you disagree, but they managed to influence you where you agree. What did they tell you?
No, they said tell us how it goes, you know. So I said, well, it goes like this. They said, well, can you do it on the microphone? So then I did it on the microphone. They said, well, that's great. that's finished job, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But actually, I just meant to show them how to do it. But they kept the recording, and then I said, yeah, you know what, it sounds good. and it was just duff. At that time, I would only use the duff, you know.
Oh, the duff, yeah.
That was my perception at that time.
At that time. And Raihan managed to open up?
Well, they used to use duff mostly. I mean, most of their
music
was within that kind of range. But yes, but then they expanded, and I followed them. Yeah.
MashaAllah. And for your information, Raihan's first album, which was Puji Pujian, is the highest selling album until now in Malaysia. And from that, I just want to ask you about the da'wah from the music angle. So what do you think about that? Because Raihan had managed to open up the view in Malaysia. What about the world?
Absolutely. I mean, that's really the subject of this book. The book is not about music. It's about how do we communicate, how do we use the means of communication, technology, and be it music, be it word, be it whatever it is, to tell this story and to guide people into a better way of life. How do you do that? Now, that's basically my work. If there was anything that I do since the beginning, it was always to try and communicate. And maybe, you know, this is one of the ways in which we can help. The non-Muslim, many of the non-Muslim world, it is focused on music and entertainment. So it is like a language, you know, film.
Yeah.
It's a complete education for many people. That's where they get their information from. So then if we are not speaking that language, how are we going to talk to the wide world? They're not going to come to lectures. They're not going to read lots of books, you know.
Especially we have gadgets nowadays.
Wikipedia is going to tell you everything.
iTunes.
You know. Yeah.
All right. So in such a way, music become a very strong alternative in da'wah, right?
Not alternative. It is a channel. A channel. It's not just an alternative. It's something as part of a picture. You know, it is not the only thing. But for instance, on your television station now, if you don't have music, it would sound flat. You know, Alfred Hitchcock made a film called The Birds, and he had no music in it, and it made people like scared, you know. What? Oh no, what's going on? You know, so it helps to relax somebody sometimes. It makes you feel that it tells a story. So if you take a film and you take away the music, it will be kind of strange, because you wouldn't have the emotion and the power of sending the message of the film. And so it kind of adds. It's not an alternative, it is an attachment.
Attachment, yeah. So what is the main message that you want to convey to the readers from this book?
The main message is that fiqh, you know, which is how to understand your religion, how to practice your religion. It must include all the things, all the problems that you're faced with. There should be scholars who I think should embrace and understand and give guidance as to new ways of helping us to advance and practice our religion in this world, in this time now. And you cannot build walls necessarily to protect yourself. You have to open doors. That is more important than building walls.
You must not create any barriers for the people.
Yeah, that's what I think. And so I think that that's basically the message.
I see. And because nowadays, the young generation, they are too attached, they are too intense to the music, and they want to be musicians. So what is your, I think, a kind of humble advice to the youngsters if they want to go into this music industry? What should they do in order to become, very good, at the same time become a good Muslim?
Well, I think ikhlas is the basis of everything. You know, there is nothing that is more important than ikhlas. So when you do something, you do it for the sake of Allah, you do it for the sake of the benefit of humanity, and those are the basic rules of life. You know, worship God and be good to humanity. That's basically my advice.
I see. And of course, I want to know whether there is any latest project from you, your latest album coming, Anything that,
Yeah.
where it will be as a gift for the people that have been supporting you for many years.
Well, no, this is the actual latest.
Oh, this is the latest.
Yeah, this
gift.
is
All
the
right,
latest.
mashallah.
But as well as that, I'm making a new record, and we're coming up to 50 years since my first record. You know, back in 1966.
66.
And so there will be quite a lot of new music and products, if you like, to celebrate that 50 years.
I see. So when do you plan for it to
That's
be
coming
launched?
next year, inshallah.
Next year. So please make sure you will be coming here, so that we'll be discussing that again on this stage.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. So last words for the people, for the viewers, so that they must, it is a must to ensure that they have this book at their home or at their library, please.
Yes, I hope that inshallah that this will open the door to people understanding some of the hidden reasons for the actions that we see in the world. Because if you don't know what's going on behind, you may never understand the picture.
I see. And actually, I'm not supposed to do this, but I want to do it, where I just want to hear a little bit, any song from you, for the people who misses you.
I look, I see a world of beauty. I touch, I feel.
Mashallah.
I feel a world around so real.
MashaAllah.
Okay?
All right. Love you, mashallah. Thank you very much,
Alhamdulillah.
Yusuf Islam, for being here today.
Thank
We
you.
hope you enjoy in Malaysia.
Love it.
Alright, Masya Allah. Dan itu dia sedang penonton, Yusuf Islam bersama kita hari ini. Semoga anda semua terinspirasi dengan setiap kata-kata bicara beliau. Dan untuk lebih lanjut, anda boleh dapatkan buku ini, Why I Still Carry a Guitar. Diterjemahkan dalam bahasa Melayu yang memudahkan anda untuk memahaminya, insya-Allah. So, kita akan berehat seketika dan kita akan kembali sebentar lagi sebab saya nak minta Yusuf Islam sign buku ni. Jangan jealous.
So I signed it.